Yeah, I don't know. I've always really sort of been. I don't think I've ever really set out to write a song about any particular thing. Usually, it's you get the first inklings of what it's. You get a few phrases, you get a couple melodies, and maybe hint at maybe where the structure is and stuff. And then some, and then maybe the logic comes in, and you start filling in the missing pieces that you think are there. And usually, the meaning or any like sense to the song or direction or where it's coming from sort of comes later. But I don't know, I've never really been too hung up on knowing necessarily what a song is about or questioning questioning where it's coming from as long as it seems to be resonating and kind of gets through the first filters. I usually will trust trust what comes up enough to not feel like I have to have meaning on it before I can finish it. I mean, I would say probably most of my songs, I don't really know necessarily, particularly what they're about. They maybe have some reflection, or maybe there may be some reference to something that's real. But yeah, I don't get too hung up on that. I think that's kind of the nice license about writing music. It doesn't have to make sense. It's a moment. It can be just a gesture. You know.
All right, I think we got time for one more question. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned Black Eyed Snakes a couple times, and I'm not sure I've ever been impacted by a show any more than that band. Can you talk about what role that band plays in the context of the rest of your music? And playing time since it happens?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think we're playing soon, but I'm not sure. I don't know. The Snakes was an interesting thing. I've always sort of had a love-hate thing with blues, and I always knew that the stuff that I liked about it was just the really primal. I don't know. I guess I have to admit this kind of the real primal sexual rhythm of it to me is what was more exciting and I don't know. Starting that band, I guess we just told the guys in the band, it was like, we gotta go all the way. You have to go all the way. You have to play as hard as you possibly can, and you have to be. I don't know. I don't know how that. It's hard to describe how that band started, but generally, yeah. If you listen to us, we're using really simple forms. It's a lot of times we're just banging on one chord and some sort of riff or something like that. And when it's that simple, it really frees you up. It can be very physical, and be very dynamic, and then it's about texture and flow and rhythm and I mean that's where that comes from. I mean I know it probably sounds real. It maybe sounds arrogant and sort of sort of sort of almost even academic about rock and roll, but I mean there's something in that music, and I feel like just for just having been in that band and having played in front of certain audiences, sometimes I know what was going on when Elvis would play some of those first shows, and that rhythm and this music would happen, and it would hit these people who, I mean, nothing like that had been heard before, and it's so powerful, that music, that rhythm and that blue. I mean, our generation has grown up with that all around, and everybody's made all kinds of versions of it. It's been watered down and whatever all these years, but there's something so powerful of that, and when you really physically and like spiritually surrender to it and let it go through you. I know this sounds really arrogant and it sounds so whatever, but it I don't know. It's really weird. It's a really humbling band to play in, because there are definitely moments where the music just it's so out of your fingers, so beyond your reach, just enough, and yet it's can't touch it, but because you're reaching, you're so stinking close to something beautiful that you're glad you were there. It's weird. It's sort of a weird, interesting music. Volume. Brad. Well, of course, the other thing, the secret of the Black Eyed Snakes is that Brad Nelson, our drummer, used to be he was a USA skiing team, USA cross country ski team contender back in 19 like 89, 90, 91, 92. But